Good morning. Today's lesson is going to be on page 301. It's just a short lesson today, and this is going to be for April the 27th, Tuesday, April the 27th. Today's shout out goes to Rihanna, and I just wanted to say hi to my beautiful girl and also take off your hood during class. Just kidding. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you guys had a good weekend. You had an extra day of not having school, so that was fun. Sad that there's not going to be any school the rest of the year, but hopefully maybe we can get together during the summer and do a yearbook signing or something if this coronavirus gets over. All right, so since it's just one page, if you haven't read it, go ahead and read it now, and then I'll ask you some questions and we will discuss the lesson. Okay, so if you've read it, we're going to be talking about the Vikings. And no, I'm not talking about the Minnesota Vikings. I'm talking about the Vikings. Now, the Vikings were probably the first people that actually came to North America. Columbus gets the credit because the Vikings didn't say anything. There's a lot of controversy there about that, but it's just kind of interesting how these people lived. All right, so where did most of the Vikings come from? They came from Scandinavia, and that's kind of like up north in Europe, okay? Look at the image of the Vikings, and let's read aloud the caption. The caption says, Viking ships used oars for extra speed when preparing to attack a village and used snails when moving across open waters. Snails? That's weird, right? So the Vikings, what they did is they like to do pillage. They pillaged all these towns. So they would go from village to village, just pillaging, destroying, capturing, killing, getting all the like treasures there and everything that they could there. So they attacked different parts of Europe. Vikings are like another name for raiders. There's different names for it, but they had the little horn things. Does the author, look at the second paragraph. It wants me to read it, so I'm going to read it out loud really quickly. It says, Viking raiders attacked England and then invaded the Franks in Western Europe. They attacked coastal villages one at a time. Their attacks were sudden and merciless. They were feared by all. These attacks were swift. They killed people, stole gold and jewelry, and destroyed homes and buildings. Then, as quickly as they had come, they shoved offshore and were gone, leaving villages aflame, homes and crops destroyed, and churches and monasteries ransacked. Okay, so does the author who wrote this have a favorable view of Vikings? No, because actually in that paragraph, there wasn't one positive thing that the Vikings did, right? It was like killing and pillaging and destroying and meanness and everything, all right? So he describes, or whoever wrote this describes the Vikings of having no mercy, and people feared them. I mean, really, if I saw someone, especially if they didn't do anything yet and they just walked into a room with their outfit, what they were wearing would be scary, right? What did a Viking settlement along the Seine River eventually develop into? Normandy, France, actually, and that's a big thing in World War II. What Viking briefly controlled England, leaving a mark on its culture? The Danish villages. Okay, and so look at the Norse mythology. They actually want me to ask you some questions there. If you think about Thor, Thor is a Viking. Well, he's known as a Viking. So, like the Greeks and the Romans, the Norse worshipped many gods. The chief Norse god was named Odin. He was a god of war, creation, and the dead. His appearance was that of an old man with a beard and sometimes with only one eye. Odin's wife was Frigg, the goddess of the heavens. Under Odin was Thor, the god of thunder. Thor controlled the wind and rain and was the champion of the gods. The modern names of some of the days of the week come from the names of the Norse god. Tuesday comes from two, the Anglo-Saxon name for the Norse god of war, Tyr. Wednesday comes from the name of the chief god, Odin, which corresponds to the Anglo-Saxon god Woden. Woden's Day. Thursday is named for Thor. Friday is named for Frigg. Odin was often pictured with 2 wolves and 2 ravens. So, we all loved Thor in the Avengers. No, just kidding. But I did. I loved Thor. But Captain America is actually my favorite Marvel Avenger or Marvel superhero. Batman is my favorite DC. So how, after reading that, how was Norse worship similar to Greek and Roman worship? Just like the Greeks and the Romans, they worshipped one god? No, many gods, right? What was the role of the chief god, Odin? He was the god of war, creation, and the dead. In what way was Odin like a human? Well, he had a wife for one thing, and then he had a physical body. And also, he had an eye that didn't work. So that's kind of different for gods, because gods are usually supernatural and, perfect. Who is the god of thunder? Thor, right. And what names of ancient Norse gods are tied to modern day names for the week? Talked about Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which is Thor, and Friday, Frigg. Okay, and the god of war, Tuesday comes from the god of war, Tyr, and Wednesday, Woden. All right, and then look at the question at the bottom of the page. Who were the Normans? The Normans, they were a group of Vikings, established a settlement near the Seine River. This settlement developed into the region that became known as Normandy. Its inhabitants were called Normans. Pretty short lesson today, right? I hope you learned something. If this interests you, in fact, I'm going to put an extra video for you guys to watch on the Vikings. Might be interesting. I always love learning about the different gods from all these other countries that we studied, the Roman gods, the Greek gods, the Norse gods. So I'm going to put a video in there, an extra video for you guys to watch. Hopefully you will. I know you have plenty of time to do it. And if things like this interest you, Google it or read more about it. And it's very interesting how these people lived and what they believed. And they believed, because they had a god of war, that it was okay to pillage, and they didn't have a moral code for them. The moral code means something that makes them do what's right. Our moral code should be the Bible, but they didn't have one, so they were kind of not very nice and feared above all. All right, so that's today's lesson. I hope you had a great day, and I hope you make good choices.